Welcome to the Alouettes Flightdeck, the podcast dedicated to Montreal Alouettes football. I'm Cliffy D. You can find me on Twitter at Cliffy D.
And I'm Tim Capper. You can find me on Twitter at Repact. That's REPPACT. And this episode is presented by our good friends over at SportBuff, where if you use the promo code FlightDeck-10 at checkout, you will save 10% on your entire order. So head over to sportbuffshop.com, use the promo code, save 10%, and get all that swag from whatever league you choose it from.
Mm-hmm. And folks, you can find the Alouettes Flight Deck all over social media. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at AlouettesFLDeck, on Instagram at Alouettes Flight Deck, on Facebook at facebook.com/AlouettesFlightDeckPod, on YouTube at youtube.com/Alouettes Flight Deck. And make sure you check out our merchandise over at teespring.com/stores/Al's Flight Deck.
Also want to congratulate Monica White for being the winner of this week's pair of SportBuff Flight Cruise seats. I hope you enjoy the game. And we will be giving away another pair for the upcoming Thanksgiving Day Classic, the tradition that should never leave Montreal, because we need our CFL traditions here. Stay tuned to all of our socials on how we're going to do it. It's very possible we may do it slightly different because it is Thanksgiving. We want to give as many people the opportunity to win these tickets to go see the Alouettes play the Ottawa Red Blacks on Thanksgiving Monday. Mm-hmm. Okay. First and foremost, Cliff, I have a one bit of house cleaning to do. I had mentioned on social media that the date over at the Pure Litter website promoting Tackle Hunger showed that the Alouettes were going to have their date, their Tackle Hunger game on the 22nd of October, which would have been their season finale versus Toronto. It actually was, as I reported it back in June. It will be happening this Friday at Percival Molson, so make sure that you do bring either a donation or some canned food items to the stadium. And you will also get a chance to take a picture with the Grey Cup for the second time this season. What?
Mm-hmm.
2 times for a city that hasn't won the championship in so long, Cliff. This Grey Cup comes to Montreal twice in one regular season.
I wonder if that's a sign. This is like, you better get to see it now because you're not going to see it later this year. I hope not.
No, I'm different at that one, actually. I was about to say, what would it be like, Cliff, to have the Grey Cup show up 3 times in Montreal in 2022?
Oh,
that's the goal, dude. That would be absolutely amazing, obviously, for Alouette fans.
Oh, 100%. I think as exciting as it would have been to see it in, June or July, that we had the anniversary of the 20th anniversary celebration for the 2002 Grey Cup.
July, I think. I had to go back and check myself. But yes, we've had either way, earlier in the summer.
Yes, we've had that. We're going to be having it this coming Friday, which is still in September.
Mm-hmm.
Alouettes fans, how would you? I think I know how you feel, but imagine that third time being in late November at the Quartier des Festivals, which is where they normally would hold a championship celebration. That's where they had the 2009-2010 Grey Cup championship celebration. I'd be okay with seeing the Grey Cup here in Montreal in late November myself.
Oh, yes.
I want to believe you all would too.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir, baby. Yes, sir. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned to me that you yourself have a little bit of a follow-up to the story to a story that we did last week.
Yes. Last week, as you may or may not have heard, our man Tim over here discovered these KFC Ruffles chips. And I laughed because I'd seen them all over. I thought they were just available in the rest of Canada because I had not seen them anywhere in the Montreal area. And I thought, I wonder if it's one of those things where just Quebec is like SOL when it comes to these chips. But lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, the KFC chips have arrived in Montreal. I found them at the local grocery store, picked up a couple of bags, and, finally got to try them. I got to see what all the hype was about.
And considering you bought a couple bags,
Well, it was one of those like 2 for $7 deals. So I'm
Oh,
like,
okay. Okay.
like, okay. I mean, like, again, like $3.50 is kind of egregious for a bag of chips. But I mean, listen, if these are a limited time thing, then they better be good. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And my assessment of these chips, having tried them, is they're not bad. They're not outstanding. They definitely do have that KFC taste to them, which, depending on how you feel about KFC, may or may not be a good thing. I was kind of looking for a little bit more, especially based on your commentary. Like, I don't know if you just got like an extra concentrated bag, because mine tasted like KFC, but kind of on the lighter side. You know what I mean? Like, it's just I could use a little bit more, like a little more oomph to the chip, and it just wasn't there.
But remember, I think everybody has their different taste buds too. Their nose is cleared up. What their palate is currently like at that time. Because I to be all honest with you, is that when I finished the rest of the bag a couple of days later, the I guess the quote unquote newness of it wasn't as the same as it was when I first had the chip. But it was. But as you said, it was still there. The taste was still there. So, yeah. I mean, I'm on board with what you said. So, rated. I don't think I did. Did I do a rating? What would you rate it?
I don't believe you did a rating, but if we go like on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd give it a solid 3.
Yeah, I'm on that too. I'm on that too.
I mean, not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. I definitely don't regret getting them, but I wouldn't go make a grand voyage in search of these chips. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So, the Grey Cup came here in July.
Okay.
It's coming here in September. 2-month differences. What's the next month that's 2 months away?
That would be November.
That would be. Is this fate?
Could be. I just hope that the Alouettes are on board with this thought process. I hope that the team is kind of. I don't know if that's what you'd use as a motivating factor necessarily, but no, I sincerely hope.
It just may be the stars aligning. Who knows?
Well, could be. I mean, listen, looking at the remaining games on the schedule, and I mean, this team could go on a run. It really could. Like, you think about it. After this game against Hamilton, you're going out to Edmonton, where they haven't won in like 100 years. Like, where the Elks haven't won a home game in like 100 years. It feels like. And then you got back-to-back series against the Argos and against the Red Blacks and the Argos, essentially to finish the season. I don't want to get overconfident here, folks, but I mean, I look at this team, the way it's built, and if they can get their act together, if they can really truly play the kind of football that we've expected them to, I mean, I won't say undefeated necessarily, but I mean, if they can win a couple, like at least, let's say 5 out of 6 of these games, or even 4 out of 6 of these games, they'd be sitting real pretty right now. And as it stands right now, the only Eastern team, believe it or not, that can claim a playoff spot at this point would be Toronto. I think they have to win. And I think if they win and Hamilton loses, they essentially have themselves a playoff spot.
Yeah. And by the way, speaking of, I know this is a little bit off topic, but seeing the simulations that was put forth by the CFL, like they do every year, did you see that supposedly Toronto has a higher percentage of chance of winning the Grey Cup than Winnipeg does? Did you see that? It was like 20 points. It made no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, currently as we see the CFL.
Well, I guess the thought process would be, in theory, whoever wins the Eastern Final will probably have a much easier road to go through than what Hamilton, BC, Calgary, and to a lesser extent, Saskatchewan would have to go through. So I can't help but wonder if that kind of factors into the equation a little bit.
Potential, I guess. I want to give a shout out to Mike over at the Turf District Pod, who brought it to my attention that former Alouettes head coach Daryl Mudra passed away, 93. He only was the head coach for 1 year, Cliff, 1966, but he did lead into a 7-7 record. Obviously, our thoughts go out to his family. As you know, anybody within Alouettes Nation, you're still an Alouette for life. Even though he made a hell of a name for himself in the NCAAs. I think he's in the NCAA Football Hall of Fame. just made a huge name for himself in the NCAAs. But obviously, losing any member of the Alouettes Nation is tough, and our thoughts go out to his family again.
Yes, 100%.
We had the season ticket, and I wanted to talk about this. I'll do that after the intro here. We had the season ticket member day this week. This past week, which was postponed from earlier just by a couple of weeks, I think. But you and I met up, and it actually, weren't really sure what it was going to be like when it came to the weather and stuff like that. But all in all, I think it did quite well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of folks were wondering, just how much of a turnout there was going to be because, the skies were a little gray and there was a bit of a drizzle happening. So, not the ideal conditions that the Alouettes were hoping for as far as, nice weather at Percival Molson Stadium. But lo and behold, the show must go on. So they said, okay, just bring your raincoat and, there's plenty of seats with a cover on top that you can sit in and enjoy the action. So. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by the turnout. Like a lot of folks showed up for this event. They came to get their season ticket gift. The team also fed everybody. It was originally supposed to be just a hot dog and a drink, but then it turned into basically a free for all.
So we thought too. Yeah, I mean, dude. And for those of you who weren't there, let's put it this way: for one ticket, what didn't people have? You could have gotten pizza, a burger, a water, a soft drink, a beer, popcorn, chips. My mind's still blown at beer.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it was no doubt either Bud or Bud Light, which is one of the primary sponsors for the Alouettes. So that's understandable. But yeah, still, why not have a beer while you're at practice? I mean, okay,
it's
sure.
Beer o'clock sometime.
Well, that's it, right? Yeah. I mean, giving away the Alouettes beer would have been suitable there as well, but I unfortunately helped drink it all earlier this year, so sorry about that, folks.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it went well. We met up with Brian Waitman again. He wanted to to pick our brains about a few things that he just wanted to ask us about. I did mention, and as we posted on our social over at Alouettes Flightdeck on Twitter, what the toque looked like, and the toque was versus the one that was given to season ticket holders back in 2017. Mm-hmm. And we just want everybody to chime in on social if you can, and maybe I'll put it on our Facebook page too. I don't remember if you had seen them because I know you weren't a season ticket holder at that time and a full-time season ticket holder at that time in 2017. Mm-hmm. But thoughts on the other thing that we got was this nice 5x7 picture of the Alouettes coming through their entrance into the stadium during the whiteout game earlier this year. Yeah. That fans could use for
collecting
autographs. Or I'm thinking of putting it in a frame. It's that nice.
Yeah, no, it's a really nice photo. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As far as the toque goes, I mean, listen, it's always nice when the team is willing to give you something. That's how I look at it. If you check with other teams in the CFL, some of them don't even give anything to their season ticket holders.
I know. It seems like Edmonton's just getting it back next year.
And Saskatchewan is like, they seem to be of the opinion you should be thankful that we let you buy season tickets from us. That seems to be the opinion out of them. But I digress. It's as far as toques go, yeah, it's a nice gesture. I mean, it's kind of plain. It's just a white toque with the red Alouettes logo on it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that would indicate this is exclusive for season ticket holders. I mean, unless it's like kind of one of those if you know things. But at the same time, like you'd think there'd be some sort of way to signify that, hey, this is exclusive for season ticket holders.
See, that would be the thing. And I think Brian was talking to us about that too. That's a damn good idea, actually, Cliff. Because if everybody sees the picture that we posted on social, you can see the tag on the side that says, 2017 season ticket member in English and French. Mm-hmm. Maybe, because I think the teams maybe seem to be unsure of what to do. You can still, and my suggestion was, you can still put a tag that says season ticket member. You don't necessarily have to put the year, but then again, you want to have the year that says what it is. But I like what what you're thinking, Cliff. Put a tag on it that says IYKYK. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just as he said, if you know, you know.
Well, that's it. And I understand why. Like last year, well, obviously because of 2020 being canceled, the season ticket holder gift kind of got pushed to 2021. And even though it says season ticket holder 2020 on it, so it's one of those weird things. Like, okay, maybe putting the year on it's not such a good idea, but let's be honest. Like, this is the first time this has truly ever happened, if I'm not mistaken, that you've had a situation where we've had a canceled season and everything just kind of rolls over into the next year. So,
right.
I get why you would want to signify the year and show that this is exclusive for season ticket holders of 2021 or 2022 or whatever. That's the thing is, I guess the Alouettes were kind of in a tough spot. Like, how do we salute the fans? How do we show them that we appreciate each and every one of them? Of course, a gift is a great way to do that, but I guess they felt, okay, let's play it safe. Let's just give this toque, which really doesn't look any different than any other Alouettes toque. So it's still a nice gesture. Don't get me wrong, but there's nothing about this toque that would suggest that this is because you're a season ticket holder. Like, this looks like any random toque that you can go and buy at the merchandise boutique or anywhere else. Yeah, like that's the concerning thing for me more than anything else, is that it just kind of doesn't. It just looks like one to the crowd, so to speak.
I agree. I do agree with you. I get a feeling this were done earlier on with the original branding. Maybe they would have put the entire circular logo. I know the Owls have gone away from the kind of this circular logo as being their primary, from what it seems, and going with the M-bird. But you also have to know what the M-bird is. That's the thing. I mean, again, IYKYK. That's the thing. So I understand. I think I'm trying to think of 2019. I'm trying to remember what we got. Was it the clear bag and it said, or was it the reusable bag and it said season ticket holder 2019? I'm trying to remember what 2018 was. Anybody please chime in either on social, if you remember, on social, or email me at tim.capper@alouettesflightdeck.ca. I'm trying to remember what they were.
Yeah.
But I think they had the year on them. That's the thing. They had the year on them.
Yeah. And again, that kind of is what makes it exclusive. That's what kind of gives that sort of cachet, if you will. And also, too, is supposed to signify to people, like, oh, you got this because you're a season ticket holder. Exactly. Oh, okay. And then I don't know if that would necessarily prompt people to want to sign up for season tickets based on whatever little tchotchke the team gives you. But at the same time, it's still a status symbol of sorts.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Grateful, yes. I wasn't a fan of it, but I am the color. But I am grateful to. I was grateful to receive one. So thank you to the Owls for continuously taking my money and allowing me to sit in the stadium.
And I'm sure they're saying thank you very much for letting us take your money.
Exactly. What else did you take away from the season ticket day?
Just the fact that I felt in a lot of ways things were kind of rushed a little bit. Like the practice was kind of rushed. Like usually you can count on Alouettes practice being at least an hour and a half. But I think with the events that were going on, the need to want to get everything done as per their schedule, like the practice felt kind of rushed. And then the on-field meet and greet with the players afterwards also felt a little bit rushed.
Okay. And then the Q&A.
Yeah,
I know you wanted to talk about that in a couple of minutes, but and it's true too. But I think what people need to remember, as far as we know as fans, is that off of a bye week and a game for a Friday, the Alouettes would not have had practice their first official practice until Monday. I think. I mean, maybe it's an unofficial day because they do get. Do they usually do 4 days? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, maybe a walkthrough on Thursday. So I don't know.
Maybe yeah.
So, but. They still seemed to get through everything that they needed to from the many practices that we've been to. It was nice meeting up with a lot of the guys that we had seen before. We met up with Walter Fletcher, talked to him for a little bit. We spoke with Davis Alexander. You got to meet him for the very first time.
Lots of guys were coming up. I mean, It's hilarious too, because it's now through the podcast that a lot of these players are starting to know and recognize us from, which is extremely cool. The fact that the players are checking out the podcast as well is amazing, and I think for a lot of them, I think it was really cool to kind of put a name to a face, because it's one thing like, oh, Alouettes, the flight deck, like, great, this is awesome. And
well, it's like Terrell Sutton a couple of weeks ago when we saw him on the field. He was like, he saw you, and then he goes, "It's both of you."
Right?
Yeah.
This isn't a one-man show here. This is a package deal, folks. I mean, like, it's Cliffy and Timmy right here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the guys. So, and now the fact that the players are recognizing and appreciating that is extremely cool. So, again, it's really awesome to be able to see a lot of these guys, and again, a lot of the players we've seen before, and we're always happy to talk with them, and I think they're happy to talk with us too. And it makes me laugh because even when like some of the higher ups with the Alouettes, they kind of see us like, oh crap, be careful what you say around these guys.
Yeah, Mario, and it's who are we talking to?
I think it was Fletch we were talking to.
It was Fletcher. Yeah. Yeah, he's I love the interaction with Mario. That's a great representative, in my opinion, for the team, and I think he answered some pretty interesting questions at the Q&A and stuff like that. Actually, so did Danny Mac. But yeah, I had fun with that part, and let's go into go into it since I was segueing into it. You brought up some interesting points because I wasn't a little bit under the weather, still am. It's one of those. It's not as exciting as Sheldon Cooper putting Vicks on Amy Farrah Fowler's chest in that episode. But you heard some stuff that, especially during the French questions, that was very interesting that you wanted to make sure that you told me about, and I think the fans should know about it too. Yeah,
definitely. Like, the one question they had was, like, as far as the quarterbacking situation goes, was, okay, who is the future? Like, since Vernon Adams wasn't essentially not the future because he's obviously been traded away to the BC Lions, what's the quarterbacking future looking like for the Alouettes? Like, is a move going to be made? And they talked about, we believe in Trevor. We believe in Trevor Harris as being he is the leader of this team now, but they are extremely high on Davis Alexander as far as his potential and his capability. They'd mentioned a lot of the players, like a lot of the homegrown players too, most notably Marc-Antoine Dequoy, Brian Harlemana. These are guys, as far as they're concerned, these are the building blocks. These are the guys they want to build around, not just because they're Quebec-born players, but the fact that they're exceptional football players as well. And they want to help strengthen and grow the game that way. And to them, that's crucial, is trying to develop the Canadian, not just the Canadian talent, but the fact that this is Quebec-born talent that's playing for the hometown team, which I got to say, I'm pretty happy to hear that. I mean, the quarterbacking situation, like I said, Davis Alexander, Trevor Harris are not Quebec-born players, so you can't sort of focus on that. But as I alluded to in a previous episode of the Flight Deck, I'm wondering if when they're looking towards the future, if the theme is to build this team mostly out of Quebec-born players of talent, then one would have to consider that maybe the Alouettes are truly thinking about Jonathan Senecal from the Carabin to come on board of this team in some way, shape, or form in the next couple of years. But the fact that they want to use these Quebec-born players truly as the building blocks, and as I've said numerous times, like, the talent level on this team, like, that comes from Quebec and comes from the youth sports level, is second to none. The love that this team has for Tyson Philpott.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We saw Tyson too. We
did, and he was in fine form as well. But the glowing admiration that they have for this guy, and just what he's done, the fact that he hasn't even scratched the surface of what he can do in this league, speaks volumes. Like, when this team is looking towards the future, the moves that they've made with like the next 2, 3, 4 years down the road in mind, I think Alouettes fans should be really feeling really secure about where the direction of this team is going.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And it was like they were very candid in a lot of their answers. It wasn't it didn't seem to be the typical answer that they would give in a press conference that and a question coming from a member of the media. They seem to be very open. Now, Mario always seems to be, but Danny Mac, it surprised. It was a breath of fresh air. Because, even at the end, and whether they had planned on saying this or not, and I think a question was asked specifically, I think maybe about the fans or about the team or something like that. He basically said, he goes, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you, the fans. I don't remember what the question was. It was something about like that, but just to say something like that, yes, it's true. You're not a team without the fans. Which I get, but a lot of the stuff I get. What Danny Mac was saying was very, as I said, it wasn't. It didn't seem like anything was being held back. Again, no political / media type of answers that I could ascertain from what I heard him speak.
No, and nothing felt rehearsed or.
That's what I was trying to get at. Yes.
Yeah. One thing that was interesting too is they're talking a lot about the logistics for a lot of the fans really want to see the fan plane back or a fan train again,
or the fan bus. Yeah.
Well, the fan bus they've done to go to Ottawa earlier this year,
but they still did bring up a point though. But I'll let you continue because I'm getting into what you're saying here.
Yeah. But they talked. Mario was very honest and talked about a lot of the struggles, as these are things that they want to do as well. But for example, Via Rail or even Nolinar, the team that does provide the charter plane for the Alouettes, they've been having issues as well as far as logistics and being able to provide services like this. So it's been a challenge, but it is something that this team is definitely still wanting to do and looking to do in the future, especially now as things progress and we're getting back as close to normal as possible when it comes to everything that's been going on in the world over the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. This, there's going to be challenges no matter what. There's no question about that. But I think the fact that this team is still believing in these things, sees the value in having fan planes or fan trains or what have you, any chance you can get fans together and bring them to an opposing stadium and let them be a part of the scene, if you will. Mm-hmm. The fact that they still believe in something like that, I think speaks volumes and shows that this team is definitely committed to its fan base. Which, again, folks, if you're concerned about, is this team listening to this? Do they really care about me, or do they just want my money? Yeah, I want to believe. Maybe this sounds naive, maybe it sounds a little homerish, but I really believe this Alouettes team truly is listening to its fans and is going to do everything possible to try and bring back events like this and try to get back to the way things were back in the day, back when the Alouettes were successful and back when they were having initiatives like this to try and improve the fan experience for each and every one of you. So yeah, it may just take a little longer than expected, but the one thing I would say, folks, and again, maybe it sounds naive, but just keep the faith, because I truly believe that is the goal for this team right now, is to get back to that good place, get back to that feeling they had back in the early 2000s, late 2000s, when they had fan participation was at an all-time level.
Yeah, and all the more reason. Just by hearing this, Cliff, all the more reason for fans to fill out those game day surveys, those year-end surveys, or the one that we had recently for the season ticket survey, and I think we'll get one at the end of the year also. All the more reason to fill them in. Because if they're reading some of the feedback and they're already working towards 2023, just from what we had heard and what we were told, all the more reason to fill that stuff out. Even if you think the idea is a pie-in-the-sky idea, they're reading it. They're reading it. And obviously, I really think 2023, as far as, this is my opinion, I think 2023 for the Alouettes, when it comes to their home schedule, is going to be drastically different than what it has been in years past. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is coming down to, if you really have to listen to this fan base, listen to what they want, because especially too when you've got an owner, minority owner, or whatever the case may be, on Twitter, basically letting people know, you've got to come to the stadium. We want you in the stadium. They're doing everything you can to get this stadium filled. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of that has to do with listening to what your fan base wants. And there are times where I've wondered if the Alouettes truly were listening to their fans. And I think over the past couple of years, maybe it's due to the fact that COVID has changed a lot of how we do things, how we spend our money, how we live our lives, this, that, and the other. You almost have no choice but to truly listen to what people want. And if you really want a building, you want your stadium to be sold out, then you've got to be willing to adapt and change and listen to what fans want. If fans are telling you, we want games played on this day, and it's overwhelming, mm-hmm. then that's what you got to do. You got to accommodate your fans. You got to make sure that they are heard.
Yeah, and try to convince the league and TSN. This is what our fans want. By the way, great term that was used by Mario, which I did not know what the term existed when he was talking about the fan trips and stuff like that. Calling the ones that are used by the Alouettes, I guess that they rent the train, they call them ghost trains. I had not heard that term used before. That's pretty cool. I think it was they call it a ghost train because it is not what did Mario say? It's not normal business practice, not a normal business, not a normal running train. It's something that's off the books, I guess we could say.
Yeah,
like it's a ghost train. I love the term.
Yeah,
Owls use it. That's even better now. Take the Owls ghost train to Toronto. Come on.
It would give a certain mystique to the whole thing.
Come on, dude. I agree with you. Take the ghost train.
Take the ghost train. Take the ghost plane. Whatever it takes. I mean, if that's
Nolanor. With Nolanor, it's different. Nolanor, it's different because it is. The Via is. I think Via is a CFL thing. It's a CFL sponsor. Nolanor really is. Is it really more Alouettes? I know there are a few. I think there are a few other teams that use Nolanor too. I think Hamilton does or Toronto does. Well, somebody did. I saw them on the plane. So, but yeah, by all means. So, all in all, I'm glad it was brought back. Again, I wish the weather had been better, but still, I think it worked out perfect. Where everybody, it held off till the very end. And by the way, we can't also forget too. Even food. The boutique was open. And everybody could use, if everyone remembers, if you're a season ticket holder, even coming this Friday is the last day that you can use your September season ticket member month. Wow, that's so wrong what I'm trying to say here. You got to use your special 30% discount in stadium for the last time on Friday. Mm-hmm. So, but they were there too. So, yeah. Before we get to the preview, well, I'll remind everybody again, if there's any way you want to chime into us, you can do through our social medias, or you can email us. I already gave mine out earlier, but you can also email Cliff at clifford.pine@alouettesflightdeck.ca. One quick thing I wanted to ask you about is this whole hullabaloo about the Canadians having the RBC patch placed on their home jerseys, when you and myself have dealt with leagues before, and yes, plural, leagues before that have had advertising patches already on their jerseys. You got a hot take on this? Because to me, I'm like, meh, so what? I mean, yes, it would be nice if the colors matched a little bit, but it is RBC. My only bone of contention really is that it's a company based out of Toronto and not Montreal. But the RBC wants to make sure that they partner with one of the most famous hockey clubs in the world. I get that.
100%.
Thoughts?
Well, I'm kind of with you in that I kind of wish they would have integrated it more. Like, it does kind of stand out like this blue rectangle on a red sweater. Mm-hmm. I would have personally liked to see, if you're going to incorporate the logo, and let's face it, folks, I mean, like, advertisers are going to make their way onto uniforms no matter what. You see it in the CFL, you see it in the NBA. Before long, you're going to see it in the NFL too. I mean, it's just the way it's going to go. I mean, Christ, soccer kits have like
European hockey.
Oh my God, those are like you talk about like a literal walking billboard. That's what the hockey jerseys are in Europe is, and they cram multiple sponsors on there to the point like
NASCAR.
Oh, forget it. Like
MLS.
Yeah,
most of their jersey is a giant billboard. They usually don't have their logo on there.
Or if they do, it's kind of off in the corner, or maybe on the shorts if you're lucky.
See, I would be, if I were a Canadians fan, I would be even more pissed if they went the route, let's say, like the MLS does. The big sponsor, right, as the main sponsor, and the Canadians logo on the upper chest. I would be pissed.
Oh, I don't think anyone would stand for that. I just don't think anybody, no Canadian is going to stand for that. Even if you don't like hockey, you'd be like, what the hell is this nonsense? Mm-hmm. This is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. So, Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about nothing. I mean, we've had stuff. We have them on the helmets now for the CFL. We're getting them in the NBA. We've had them on the boards for years in the NHL. They're now in virtual ads on the glass of the boards. I mean, the one positive, I guess we could say, Cliff, is that for the CFL is that they've actually gotten rid of the physical ads in stadium, on field, and they're now virtual. We don't have to worry about seeing those now.
At least for that.
Well, they're still doing a horrible job of it, in my opinion, on TSN. It just looks horrible. But yeah, I think it's to me, I get it, but I think to me, it's all about nothing.
It really is. At the end of the day, it's not going to affect anything. I mean, I can understand people like the traditionalists are going to look at it and say this looks stupid. It desecrates the jersey, blah blah blah. I mean, that's just the way sports is going now, folks. I mean, like these are iconic jerseys to a lot of people, and I get that 100%. But that's just the way things are going right now. I mean, any chance you get to make money, you're going to do it, and if that means even more sponsorship in some way, it's going to happen. Like we're seeing the logos on the helmets. We're seeing them now on jerseys. As you said, they're all over the boards, virtually or otherwise. I mean, that's just the way it's going right now.
Or how they do the ad. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like CFL, they've had at least one, if not two, sponsorship patches on their jerseys for years now. So I mean, it's like maybe we're just so used to seeing it. Like for us, it's like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I saw them in Arena Ball. I've seen them. I remember how, if you've watched Australian footy, you see how they do those giant ads on their pitch. And those are done those are done the coolest because they're done at an angle so they can be seen properly on TV. Mm-hmm. Those things, I mean, I think it's all about nothing. But anyways.
Yeah. I do agree. Like, yes, definitely the team logo should be front and center and be the most important thing.
Yes.
And just the sponsorship logo should be kind of off to the side, just almost like an afterthought. And I think in time it will be that. But yeah, I think it really is truly much ado about nothing.
Yeah, they got them on the helmets now. They got them on the jerseys now. At least most teams in there. I think it's not even all teams now. I think it's only like 9 teams in the NHL.
No, I think everyone with the exception of Edmonton has said they wouldn't have a jersey sponsor.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Maybe I haven't seen the ones that have been announced yet, or that haven't been formally announced yet.
I don't think every single one's been announced, but the few teams that have been, they've actually made a I don't want to say celebration, but they've at least had a presser to announce celebration.
That. Yeah. What a way for the Canadians to do it too at their annual golf tournament. Oi. I remember. By the way, if you're curious to see what they are, I know this is totally off topic, but go to sportslogos.net. Chris Creamer has a whole story on these new logos. And by the way, I'd rather have RBC than Toronto having milk. You know?
Yeah.
So, just says milk. That's all it says, Cliff. Some signings and some releases that the Alouettes have had leading up to game, at least up to the Wednesday before game week, right?
Oh boy! I mean, talk about making a splash. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like when I was thinking about this episode of the Flight Deck this week, and I was like, the last couple of bye-week episodes, we've had big splashes of news to talk about.
You're right.
And I'm like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, well, we got some good signings. I mean, the Alouettes kind of got the ball rolling a little bit by announcing the return of Jamal Davis II. That, folks, is huge.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, last year, he was an absolute force for the Alouettes going into the latter part of the season. Just an absolute stud on the defensive line. Was able to parlay that into a NFL tryout with the Los Angeles Chargers. Was one of their final cuts at training camp. And now, I guess he was trying to see if he can latch on to another NFL team. Didn't work out. And now he's back here in Montreal, which is great because this defensive line...
For 2 years.
Yep. Like this defensive line's already pretty stacked as it sits. But now you put Jamal Davis back in the mix. Oh, boy. This is going to get even nastier. And I am here for it. Another move that I think is going to be really outstanding is... I hope I'm saying his name right. Ranthony Texada, formerly of the Ottawa Red Blacks, who actually played against the Alouettes last time they were here in Montreal. actually was able to pick off Trevor Harris en route to a victory. So kind of glad he's on our side now.
Yep.
So once again, the secondary, which, as I've said, has some bright spots to it with the additions of Raheem Wilson and Nafis Lyon. Mm-hmm. Now you're adding Ranthony Texada to the mix. That definitely is a relief to know that this is like I said, this is a constant work in progress. And as long as you're adding key pieces to make it better, and I think Ranthony is able to do that. And I really hope I'm pronouncing his name right, because I looked at like his name and I think that's how you say it.
I thought that's what it too. I still think it sounds cool though.
Like Ranthony.
Like I love how some of these names they're not your generic Tim and Cliff
or Mike Jones, but we'll get to that in a second.
Oh boy, yeah.
No, so again, Ranthony Texada, very happy to see him now in Alouettes blue and red. But wait, there's more.
Oh yes, sir. There's more.
Yeah, the Alouettes have also added three players to the practice roster,
which we were given the heads up, by the way, at the season ticket member day. We weren't told who they were, but we were told, "Get ready, boys." Yeah,
we were told. Yeah, that's this is true. We were actually given a sneak peek. Obviously, one of those things where they can't divulge too much, but they were nice enough to say, just be ready, because this is you guys are going to be impressed with this. Mm-hmm. You are looking at new additions. That would be Rashad Harding, Jalen Alexander, and last but not least, the Alouettes have added quarterback from Alcorn State, Felix Harper. And from what a lot of people have been telling me, this is the guy you have to get excited about, because he was absolutely outstanding in the what do you call it? HBCU, historically black college and universities, playing in that style of football, but for Alcorn State University, was an absolute stud. Was a part of the Cleveland Browns training camp earlier this year. Really showed out. Was really a very impressive specimen, and now he's here in Montreal. So, folks, I know a lot of you are excited about Trevor Harris. I get that. Some of you are excited about Dominique Davis. I know we are very excited about what Davis Alexander can do in the future. But if you're truly looking towards the future, one can't help but wonder, could Felix Harper be that next exciting playmaker for the Alouettes? Who knows? This could be that missing piece of the puzzle. So at least Danny Machocha seems to think so, because he did what he had to do to get him on board. So
yeah, exactly.
As far as new additions to the team, those are there's those. And last but not least,
because we had gone, by the way, a couple of weeks ever since Davis Alexander had been promoted to the active roster. We had not had a quarterback on the practice roster.
No, that's true.
It's been weeks since we've had a guy.
Yeah, and also too the fact that the practice roster spots are going to be opening up because they'll be expanding the practice roster. That's so right. Now this is the time to be bringing in that talent and making sure you got people ready to go for that potential playoff run.
Yeah, exactly.
And last but not least, as far as new additions go, the Alouettes have signed national receiver Mike Jones to the lineup.
Wait a minute. So the Owls now have two players by the name of Mike Jones.
That's right.
Okay.
We already had a Mike Jones, but I guess two Mike Joneses are better than one Mike Jones.
Sure.
That must be the thought.
Sure.
So, yeah. So now we've got a Mike Jones on offense and a Mike Jones on defense. And now, is there a Mike Jones on special teams somewhere?
I don't know.
Can we find one? We got to complete the set, don't we?
Well, Well, the thing is, if we were to do that, I mean, the Mike Jones we picked up, he is a national receiver. The defensive guy that we have is an American. So we would need a global. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
I'm not kidding. I would laugh my
That would be
off.
So hilarious.
Dear God, in fact, I'm going to go look for that. I'm going to see if there is
there you go.
A global, someone playing internationally who just happens to be named Mike Jones, who is on special teams, whether he's a kicker, a punter, long snapper, I don't care. If you can do special teams and your name is Mike Jones, we now want you on this team.
Yes, we want a Mike Jones on all three options here. Yes.
Let's do it. It's the Mike Jones Alouettes.
Yes, exactly.
And of course, unfortunately, there are, when you add on players, inevitably there will also be releases as well. Unfortunately, the Alouettes did show Darius Williams the door, which is disappointing because friend of the show. We've spoken with him on a number of occasions, and he was absolutely outstanding at the first part of the season, and hasn't been able to get on the field too much aside from special teams and that, and still a solid contributor. But
it's been like 5 weeks, I think, that he's actually been a starter or been. If I remember looking at his stats correctly, I could be wrong. But anyways, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean the fact is he really hasn't been given a chance to really show what he can do after so much promise earlier in the season. And I guess with the additions that have been made, like Nafis Lyons, Thomas Costigan, and Anthony Texada, and now Jamal Davis. I mean, like I said, you're adding all these defensive pieces, then inevitably someone's got to go. And unfortunately, Darius is the odd man out, which is, as I said, unfortunate because we definitely think a lot of him. And there's no doubt in my mind, though, that someone is going to pick him up because he is just that talented. He will land on his feet. So I'm not too worried about him as far as professional goes. But we definitely wish him all the best. As I said, just an absolute gem to talk to, just a great guy. And definitely wish all the best for him going forward in his football career. For sure. And again, obviously, welcome to all the new players to Alouettes Nation. Exactly. So, like it or not, folks, the season's 2/3 of the way done. These games are starting to count now, and Alouettes need to make sure that they are locked and loaded and ready for a playoff run. Because as it sits right now, they are in a playoff spot, but they do have a couple of teams nipping at their heels. So
do they ever? And one last thing that came across the wire before we preview this week's game, Cliff. We got a Dirty Bird coming back.
Yes, we do. In addition to all the stuff that's going on for the game on Friday, most notably is the return of Chip Cox to celebrate him being nominated into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, and joining him to celebrate, as well as signing a 1-day contract so that he can officially retire as a Montreal Alouette. None other than the Angry Bird, Kyrese A. Bear, making his return to Montreal.
I said angry. I said Dirty Bird, didn't I? Damn Atlanta Falcons.
No, he was the Angry Bird.
Yeah,
but it'll be really awesome to see him back. Celebrating his the success of his good friend being nominated into the Hall of Fame. He'll come back and officially retire, and he himself might. Are you ready for this?
Tell me.
Not only has he a newborn baby born earlier this year, his daughter just had a baby. He's going to kill me for saying this, but he's a grandpa.
Oh, my Lord.
And yes, folks, he is younger than Tim and I. We won't reveal our ages, but he's younger, and he's a grandpa.
If you know Cliff and I, well, you know how old we are. So
we're not exactly spring chickens here, but
no.
But wow, yeah, Kyrese Aber, the Angry Bird could be the angry grandpa.
Wow. By the way, I do not see, because obviously this is Chips Day also, I do not see them doing what they did when Mike Pringle signed that 1-day contract to end his career as an Alouette. Remember they had him dressed. Well, he dressed up. I guess we don't know the whole story, but he was dressed in the old Alouettes uniform. He came out. He came out with the team in the old Alouettes uniform.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah, I don't see them doing that for this.
For Chip, I don't think so.
No. Do you think they? No, I was thinking that was for AC's number retirement. Oh, okay. I'm okay. Are we done with that? Because I want to double back just by that. Just rang a bell. Something that was also asked that is very pertinent to what we're just talking about. Are we done?
Okay. Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Speaking of, we're talking about retirement. That was a question that was also asked at the season ticket member day, and we're talking about specifically of John Bowman and Chip Cox having their numbers retired.
Right.
And you and I have talked about this before. I think off air. So Mario was Mario or was it Danny Mac? I'm trying to remember.
Or both.
Okay. They basically said there may be, look at all the numbers that the Alouettes currently have retired. And obviously there are only X amount of numbers that that the teams are using, and that you start retiring all these numbers, you have less and less numbers that you can use on field. Mm-hmm. You can double them up during preseason, but you can't during the season. So what was kind of, I can't say it was hinted at, but it was kind of, an idea was floated out there. I'll just put it that way. I guess unless you can think of a better term, that it was said that there is a possibility of immortalizing these current players and future players that are becoming superstars that get into the Hall of Fame, etc., or are about to get into the Hall of Fame, which we're thinking about John Bowman, of being able to represent them in stadium by putting their name somewhere without retiring their number. And when you and I heard this, I said, you and I talked about this before, is we thought of immediately as an example of what the Blue Jays do in Toronto. They don't retire their number. I think they put their number next to their name, but they put them on their Ring of Honor. So maybe that's what the Alouettes might be leaning towards.
Which would make a lot of sense because you'd even asked about, do you think that they would ever retire Chip's number? And I thought, well, if they don't retire Brian Chu's number 68 after playing 13 years for the Alouettes and winning 2 Grey Cups, Chip's won 2 Grey Cups, John Bowman's won 2 Grey Cups, and those numbers are not retired. And if anything, they've been reissued. I mean, there was a bit of a moratorium, a bit of a waiting period before those numbers were reused.
Right.
Which I think is a fair thing to do because...
Not for number 7.
Well, no, they waited a couple... well, I guess technically
they
waited...
They really
they did.
A year. If it was a year.
Well,
and COVID.
I said technically 2 years.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
All right, but in any event, there was a bit of a grace period, if you will, before it's not like they slapped the number on somebody else right away, which I think is fair. I think you do... Certain players, you do have to sort of give them a little bit of a chance to, like let the body get cold, so to speak. I mean, I guess there's, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we see now, number 11, which Chip Cox wore for many seasons for the Alouettes, now is being worn by Keon Julian Grant.
Yeah, KJG, yeah.
Yeah, and now number 7 is being, of course, worn by Trevor Harris after Bowman was wearing it for a number of years. Mind you, he started wearing number 48 and then switched to number 7. So it doesn't have that same cachet, but people do know, like, it is iconic enough for people in Montreal that number 7 is John Bowman's number.
Yeah, I agree.
And I can understand the sentiment and feeling of like, oh, how could you let someone else wear that, famous number 7, or how can you let someone else wear 68 or 11 or so on? And I get it. I understand, like, especially players that have put in so much time and helped this team win multiple Grey Cups. Yeah, I definitely get it. I think when it came to like Anthony Calvillo and Ben Cahoon, for example, they played their whole career in Montreal, like Brian Chu did. They won multiple Grey Cups, like Cox, Bowman, and Chu did. I think the big difference, though, is they won 3 Grey Cups. And maybe it's that kind of rarefied air. Like at that point, you're like, okay, those numbers are definitely untouchable for sure. And that's why they retired those. In fact, I even remember, I think it was in 2013. It was 2013 or 2014 during training camp. They actually had the chutzpah to put some rando kid in number 86.
I remember that. Yep.
And Twitter, was it Twitter? Yeah. Twitter or social media or whomever, the internet, let's cover it all with the internet, was agog. They were insulted beyond belief. I remember even mentioning it to Ben at his Hall of Fame ceremony when it was here in Montreal. I said, can you believe they did this? Like, what? Like, he was even a little indignant about it. Like, come on, man.
I mean, his original number, okay. Because he wore his original number for a year.
Right.
32?
32.
Yeah.
No, but again, when you're talking about 86, it is Ben Cahoon 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So, and again, I think that kind of prompted the Alouettes to get their ass in gear and get the number 86 retired.
It's like there are many others too, like SJ. Come on.
Yeah, and Etienne Boulay, number 22.
Yep.
Mathieu Prou, number 20. Like, again, like, these are numbers that, these guys have done, spent their whole career in Montreal. They've done great things. They've won championships with those numbers. I can understand the sentiment and the attachment to those, but as Mario and Danny had talked about, is like, you can't keep retiring numbers because a football team has so many players and so many numbers need to be used that you're going to run out pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So in that instance, for certain players that are just below, like in that tier below of having your number retired, like the Calvillos, the Pringles, and so on, you need something. You need some way to honor them, whether it's a ring of honor, a plaque, something, anything to signify who these people were. Like, they are very much a part of Alouettes history. They they are very much a part of this team, 100%, and definitely need to be celebrated and saluted and honored in some way. And to me, I think like this is what a lot of teams are doing now. Like a lot of teams are trying to go away from the whole retired number thing, especially in football, for those very reasons of just eventually running out of numbers.
I'm sure it's like the Yankees too. They have a ton of them.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't like now that Derek Jeter's retired, isn't like 1 to 20 essentially retired now?
I think so, and I'm sure they want to add another one now with Aaron Judge.
Well, there you go. So I mean, like, we're getting again. You're at that point now, like, you know, teams are wearing, like, players have no choice but to wear these bizarre numbers, especially in baseball, because well, you know, you're retiring all these numbers, like all these like iconic numbers, and I get it. I understand you want to salute and celebrate these legends, if you will.
Yeah.
But I mean, unfortunately, the game does go on, and you do, like, you know, you got to feel the team, and you got to be able to let players wear whatever number they can. So, yeah. I mean, when you think about it too, like, I don't think Edmonton or Winnipeg really truly retire numbers either. Like they honor and salute. And I know for Winnipeg, number 85 for Milt Stegall has not been issued since his retirement.
So it's an unofficial, yeah.
Yeah, it's an unofficial retirement, but they still don't really retire numbers. And,
and by the Blue Jays is called, theirs is a level of excellence.
Right.
That's what it is.
So, yeah. So I am definitely all for the Alouettes finding a way to salute these
and that's
legendary
only 10 players, by the way. It's only 10 players for the Jays. It's only 10.
Right.
So,
but yes, all this to say that, yes, I am in favor of the team finding a way to honor players like a Chip Cox, John Bowman, S.J., whomever. You name it. I am all for it. I will still, you know, I will sign my name to anything that, you know, for something like that. I will propose it. I will, whatever it needs to be done to make that happen, to be able to honor these guys. I'm absolutely 100% all for it. But yeah, as far as retiring numbers go, I mean, it's so tough because there's so.
It's another question that needs to be asked by the Alouettes at the end for their end of year survey. Ask the question. Ask the question.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. So,
and like I said, if the team wants to come forward with something like this, I'm all for it. And let us know too, folks, what you think. Like, should teams be still retiring numbers? Should, you know, there still be that moratorium on certain player numbers not being used for a while or whatnot? Mm-hmm. Let us know, whether it's on social media, via email, what have you. Let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments if you will.
Last game of the longest homestand in Alouettes history is occurring this Friday. Currently, the Alouettes are 3-1 on this 3-1 on this homestand.
2-1.
Sorry, 2-1 on this homestand, and it's a big game. We thought the game versus BC was big. This is a big game playing up against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, a team that is currently 2 points. Is it 2 points?
1.
2 points behind us in the standings. I think we have a
one game 2 points. You're right.
I think we have a game in hand, or they have a game in hand. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Actually, the season's like this
match. Means overall, as far as total games is played. I think they have won. I got to check the standings. Good job, Kepper. But either way, it's a very big game for the Hamilton. Yeah, we have a game in hand. We've only played 12. Hamilton's played 13. To potentially give the Alouettes a really big heads up when it comes to the season series, obviously versus Hamilton. I think obviously towards the playoffs too, it would give us an upper hand in the potentially get us one game, a couple more points closer to Toronto and that first place spot. Alouettes are favored by 2.5 points, Cliff, at home this week, and the over-under is currently at 52 points. Depth chart isn't out yet, but we already know that that Duquois will not be playing this week because of non-football related issues. But if you've seen what it is on social media, you already know what the reason is, because I think it was announced by Joey in his team preview. This is, and considering the Dane is back, what he did last week versus Winnipeg was just mind blowing. I mean, the team that had a minus. It was basically a -9 differential when it came to wins losses, -9 to be able to do what they did to Winnipeg. It makes you wonder what type of game this is going to be. We also have a quarterback too, Cliff, in Dane Evans, where he is very similar to what we've seen before in games with VA and in Trevor Harris, where it's a good Dane, bad Dane type of thing.
Well, I think it's been mostly bad for him. Like I've talked about, everybody getting on the Dane train, and I think that train kind of went off the tracks a little bit.
He was hurt too. He was hurt. I meant prior though, but yeah, ever since he's been a full-time starter just this year in Hamilton, it's not gone. You're right. It really hasn't gone too well for him.
It hasn't, and for him to come back the way he did last week versus Winnipeg and kind of punch them in the mouth was pretty impressive, to the point where you're now all of a sudden wondering, are we going to get this Dane Evans, or are we going to get the Dane Evans that's been so lackluster the past year? It's really hard to say. I mean, it's I think beating Winnipeg is no small feat, as we know. And they did it convincingly. So they've got to be feeling themselves big time right now, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Like, they've got to have all kinds of confidence going into this match, knowing full well, too, that Montreal usually is terrible off the bye.
Yeah, at least that. The history under 500. Yeah.
Well under 500.
Three or four games under 500. Yeah, when it comes to coming off buys. Yeah.
0-2 this year alone.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not looking good in that sense for Montreal. So
it wasn't a bombshell bye week, so maybe.
That's true. One could make the argument that there was no major distractions to the team, whether it's head coaching changes or ownership woes or what have you. So maybe the fact that this was kind of a boring bye week, that might actually work in the Alouettes' favor. So I guess we'll see. But Hamilton, they know what they have to do, because right now they're on the outside looking in playoff wise.
Yes, it's true.
But they got to make up ground. They too are in a dogfight. I mean, they went through a hellacious series against the Argos. Still managed to win 3 out of 4 games, which is pretty. They lost 3 out of 4 games. I'm sorry. So the pressure is definitely on for them as well, considering too that they were in the Grey Cup the last 2 seasons. And at the rate they're going right now, I mean, a lot of things are going to have to work in their favor in order to become a 3-time Grey Cup participant. Right now, the next challenge is beating the Montreal Alouettes at home, which, as you said, like, they're currently 2-1 on this homestand. Mm-hmm. Montreal's got to be feeling good about that victory they had against the BC Lions, but still remembering what happened against the Ottawa Red Blacks. So I mean, that's I think Montreal too is just. Yep. I think Montreal, too, has to be wondering, like, which team is going to be showing up, which Alouettes team are we going to see on Friday, because, like, this is the time. Like, when they say that the real season starts after Labor Day, well, guess what? We're well past Labor Day, so we are in it right now. We are in the thick of things.
Yeah, we're about to have turkey, for Christ's sake.
Yep. And Montreal, they're looking up at Toronto, who could clinch a playoff spot if things work in their favor. They want to get there too. They want to be able to make their case as well. So I mean, the only way you're going to do that is you got to win football games. And as I said, like the schedule, the next few games that are coming up are winnable games. I won't say they're very winnable, but they are winnable games, and games that if the right Alouettes team shows up, should be able to win those games. I won't say they will win every single one of those games, but
no, I know.
This is the time, essentially. Like right now, if the Alouettes are serious about making a playoff run, they got to do it, and they've got to start with this game against Hamilton.
Yep, and this is also a team too. The Hamilton isn't yet to win on the road this year. We don't want to get. We went through this a few years ago, where we were the firsts for a lot of teams at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to be that this time around. We mentioned about Marc-Antoine Ducroix being already officially out. You had asked me about Zach Lindley potentially being a replacement, and he was until we find out officially. Right now, it does not look good, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday he did not practice at all. So the question would be, who would replace him, and would this person potentially be somebody that the Tiger Cats would go after? We won't know. I mean, can you think of somebody who could potentially? I mean, we'd have to go back and check previous depth charts. But can you think of anybody at the top of your head that could potentially fill in technically as a number 3?
The only thing I can think of right off the top of my head would be Anthony Texada. Like now that he's part of the lineup, like he's typically a DB, but unless you have him at DB and move either Nafis Lyon or Raheem Wilson into the safety spot. If you're going strictly Canadian, though, then you could probably put Brian Harlemana in there.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Aki, too, has also played free safety in his time. So that wouldn't be so unusual to see as well. I mean, there's definitely options. Again, I'm thinking if you want to keep it Canadian, though, because Marc-Antoine Dequoy is Canadian, so is Zach Lindley. So if you got to keep that safety spot strictly Canadian, then I'm thinking either Harlemana or Aki would have to essentially assume that role. But as I said, now with the addition of Anthony Texada, that's going to increase a lot of players' roles in the secondary. I think that there might be a little bit of musical chairs happening in the secondary, so we'll see how that all pans out. But now with Dequoy being out for this game, it's if they want to go strictly Canadian at safety, then I think those are your two options right there. So
stay tuned to our socials. By the way, we'll be putting out the depth chart as soon as it does become available. One plus, by the way, and it's going to be great to be seeing his dad again this week. Tyrell Richards has already been stated. He is going to be He is going to be playing this week.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's another option as well. I mean, like even though he's a linebacker, I mean, he's got the speed and he's definitely got the football awareness. I mean, he probably would not look out of place too. As a safety. But also, too, what I said with Aki, you might be better just for the experience.
Yeah.
Put Aki and then you've got Richards in or Harlemana in the linebacking core. I mean,
that's
to
true.
me that's probably how I would play it myself. But
by the way, I'm curious. It's one thing we didn't ask this week, and anybody who knows the situation, what has Greg Reed been 6 game for the rest of the year? I really would like to know because it makes me wonder about his rehab. I feel bad for the dude.
Yeah, same with Najee Murray.
I agree with you, buddy.
These are two players that should be like a part of the lineup, and in a perfect world would be kicking all kinds of ass, quite frankly. Just as far as shutdown corner and defensive backs go, I mean, you're not going to get much better than Greg Reed and Najee Murray, and the fact that they've been banged up for the better part of the year really sucks. So.
That's right. And also, I know this is where I'm looking forward to this, even though we've said don't. I'm looking forward to the next week's game because it's very possible the back will be back. We'll see, but that's a tease for next week. So,
the one thing I will say is, regardless of how the defense plays, I mean, these are all guys that have to be able to contain like the Stephen Dunbars and the Tim Whites of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, because Dane is going to be slinging the rock.
Oh yeah. No,
and he's going to be whoever it is that's going to be in the secondary. He's going to test them, and that's just what he does. And he'll, those are the two guys that he's definitely going to be looking for. Like so, regardless of who it is in the secondary, they got to be able to shut down guys like Dunbar and White, and that's going to be the key for, as far as I'm concerned, for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Yeah. Like that's how they were able to beat Winnipeg, and I think Winnipeg may have even taken them lightly, because let's face it,
they came close. Winnipeg made a run for sure until they just took over the fourth quarter on their last drive. Just took over the fourth.
Yeah, and I think that one could perhaps even say that maybe Winnipeg's now kind of starting to coast, considering that their playoff spot's guaranteed. I mean, they could have locked up a home playoff game with a win last week, but. Maybe they're just kind of in that mode of, okay, well, let's not kill ourselves here. Like we know we're going to be in the playoffs again, so let's take it easy a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, one big thing when it comes to that could be a very big thing for Hamilton, especially on defense. It's already been announced that defensive tackle Dylan Wynn is out for the game.
That'll be huge.
So, and he's coming in. I mean, he has 4 sacks on the year. But still, I mean, 31 defensive tackles. I have seen many Ticats fans saying that's a huge name to be out for this game. Is it Vashawn Joseph is also out for the game too? But that's via illness and stuff like that. But Tunde Adeleke? Thank you. He's questionable.
Yeah.
So... and then Lamar Durant, their wide receiver, is doubtful with an ankle. It should be interesting, Cliff. I hope people show up. I mean, Tackle Hunger.
Tackle Hunger, Oktoberfest is happening at the stadium as well.
Dude, yeah. Who wants a dog and a beer and a collectible cup?
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed. I didn't see anything about an Oompa band or anything like that. But maybe they'll surprise us. And like I said, as long as Danny Machoch is not wearing your lederhosen,
are you going to wear your lederhosen?
Oh, it's at the cleaners. Yeah.
Just don't wear your kilt because it'll be the wrong day.
No, it's not Scottish Independence Day.
Okay, I'm sorry. If anybody wants to see Cliff wear lederhosen for one of the games for the rest of the year, please add us. Please add us. Please. That'll be good. And you can serve your Grolsch beer.
Oh, there you go.
So.
So we'll see how the Alouettes do Oktoberfest. I'm sure it'll be very interesting to say the least.
Yeah, but I mean that and the Grey Cup's there, and hey, this 2-month thing, baby. Woo!
And listen, it's Friday Night Lights, folks. I mean, like this is like I said, as Tim said, you got to come out, you got to support the team. I mean, we're in a playoff hunt now. That's really what it comes down to. Like it's like summer is over. Now it's time. This is crunch time now for the Alouettes and pretty much for every team in the Canadian Football League looking to get into the playoffs. Is you got to win now. So now's the time to really establish yourself and separate the men from the boys, so to speak. Like this is the time. So, and this team needs you to be in the stands. They need you making noise. They need you being loud.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. Like we can't be having like 15,000 fans on Friday night.
Let's break 18. Let's break 18. Let's do that. Come on. Let's get us up to 18,000.
And listen, we're doing our part too. We're giving away the flight crew seats. So I mean, if you didn't win this time, there'll be other opportunities to win. But folks, if you get a chance, come on out, support this team. That's really what it comes down to. Is just come out, have a good time, enjoy the Friday night show. Enjoy the cheering on the Alouettes to victory, and let's secure that playoff spot. If nothing else, there's one thing at a time. We'll worry about whether it's a home game or not.
Exactly.
Secure the playoff spot. Just get that X next to their name saying that, they will be a part of the Grey Cup playoffs.
Exactly. And
simple as that.
Yep. And lastly, before we say goodbye, just want to mention this one thing, Cliff. Just recently on Classic Auctions, lot number 551, Cliff. It is a gorgeous Sonny Wade's 1970 Montreal Alouettes game-worn Grey Cup jersey from the same year. Went for $1,172 US. It wasn't me. It wasn't me
either.
No. If anybody wants to take a peek at it, it's an absolute gorgeous thing. There are many things that I wish I could have bought over the years from Classic Auctions, but obviously to no avail. Oh, and by the way, I also have to give props to, baby. Lot number 552, Peter De La Riva's 1977 Grey Cup worn at Montreal Alouettes jersey, Cliff, went for $1,290 US.
Jeez.
And again, wasn't me.
Well, a couple of legends right there, folks. I mean,
sir.
My goodness.
Hey, Montreal history. And we want you to make it with us coming this Friday as we watch the Alouettes play the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So, Cliff, I'll see you there, my friend. And we hope to see you, too, in the stands. Drop on by in section Y1. We will be there this week. So if everybody
will be there, and we will be ready to welcome each and every one of you. So come by, say hello to us. Let us know what you think of the podcast, good, bad, or otherwise. We always appreciate each and every one of your feedback. And if you're not already, folks, subscribe to the podcast, whether it's through your favorite podcast platform, through YouTube, what have you. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody. Come be a part of the flight crew.
Yes, sir. So everybody here at the Alouettes Flight Deck, for Cliffy D, I'm Tim Capper. We're on final approach.